Hey guys, what's up? Yes, it is Tuesday, June 11th, 2019. It is about 1:45 p.m. in the afternoon. It is about 100 degrees outside right now here in Newman, California. It's already 100 degrees, if not a little bit more, where my mom is in Livermore, California. It's supposed to be around 105 today, total, about 106 maybe, but you know how the weather is, it kind of goes back and forth. It's undecisive, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. As you can see here, I do have something that I did not type up. I did not type this up. I actually copied and pasted this information from, I think it was GameSpot, I believe, GameSpot.com, and pasted it onto WordPad and printed it out. This is information, of course, right now, E3 2019 is currently going on for this week and next week, so there's a lot more information coming up within this next week, I should say, and the next week. That's what I was trying to think about saying. That's why I had a bit of a pause there. But one of the biggest news coming out of E3, especially when it comes to Microsoft and Xbox, is next generation consoles. Mostly the Xbox next generation console, codename Project Scarlett. Now, what is Project Scarlett? Well, the information that we've gotten is that Microsoft was planning to distribute and release next year equivalents to the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S. Yeah. You heard me right. You heard me right. They're planning to release equivalents of the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S. What that means, don't really know. I can only assume that they're going to be smaller versions of what we already have. I mean, a lot of people thought the Xbox One S was a smaller version, but no, it was basically a more advanced version of the Xbox One, basically, I guess, because of the 4K ability and all that. But anyway, like I said, that's what they plan to do, so you can only assume it's going to be smaller equivalents of the Xbox One X and Xbox One S. Whether or not they're both digital only, or whether or not they're both disk drive as well as digital, or it could be a combination of both. They could release two equivalents of the Xbox One S, one for physical disc, one for non-physical, in other words, all digital, and they could do the same with the equivalent to the Xbox One X. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is Project Scarlett. Now, one of the additional informations, or one of the additional news items that went along with Project Scarlett's announcement is the next Halo. The next Halo game, Halo Infinite, will be released alongside Project Scarlett. It'll be its launch title. And we have a release date. We don't have an actual date and everything, but we have a time frame release date. In other words, we have a release date time frame, and that is holiday 2020, I should say. 2012, you'd be thinking, wait a minute, that's in the past. What are you talking about? No, 2020, holiday 2020, is the release date, is the time-framed release date, or is the release time frame of when Scarlett will be released. The only question is it going to be known as the Xbox Scarlett? What's it going to be known as? I could assume it's going to be, we've had Xbox One, we've had Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox X, Xbox One X. We've had Xbox 360. I would assume this is going to probably be, if they're going by the numbers now, by Xbox One, this will be the Xbox 2. Or they might go Xbox Dukes, you know, Part Dukes or whatever, or Xbox Duo. That's what I would think probably be the best name for it. Or Xbox DOS. Xbox Dukes, DOS, or Duo. That's one of the names I'm thinking they're going to go with. It won't be Project Scarlett. That's just a code name for what they for what it is right now until they come up with an official one. But if I was to put any kind of money on it, I would say it's either going to be revealed. Its final name is going to be the Xbox DOS, the Xbox Dukes, or the Xbox Duo. That's what I see. But anyway, here's what the information that we got. This is again from GameSpot.com, and I quote. And in fact, let me get my glasses for a second, even though this is a big print. Let me get my glasses so I can read this correctly. Hold on, I'll get my other glasses so I don't have to waste my work glasses. And right now I'm currently my computer is not doing any kind of updates or anything right now just yet, but I would assume by the end of the day or into the night it's probably going to hit that. But I guess because E3 is going on, it's not a focus for them. But anyway, here's what, and let me get my Gatorade here. Here's what it says, and I know I'm about 6 minutes in, so I do apologize. Here's the information that GameSpot.com was able to get. Just taking care of something there. Here's what GameSpot.com was able to get the information, and I quote. This is again from GameSpot.com. This is what they said, and I quote: Microsoft had plenty of things to talk about during its Xbox E3 press conference. But one of the biggest announcements toward the end of the briefing, when the company finally revealed the first details for its next generation Xbox X. Okay, let me reread that. And let me reread this beginning. And I do apologize. I know I sound like I'm rambling on. I do apologize. But this is what they said, and I quote: Microsoft had plenty of things to talk about during its Xbox E3 press conference. But one of the biggest announcements came towards the end of the briefing, when the company finally revealed the first details for its next generation Xbox. Next generation Xbox plans, codenamed Scarlett. Again, let me reread that. Microsoft had plenty of things to talk about during its Xbox E3 press conference, but one of the biggest announcements came towards the end of the briefing, when the company finally revealed the first details for its next generation Xbox plans, codenamed Scarlett. Now, continuing on. Well, there's no official name yet. In fact, Scarlett might refer to multiple consoles. The company did confirm that the next-gen system will launch in the holiday 2020 period. Now, they didn't give no specific date or what month and all that, but it's going to be around holiday of next year. Continuing on. Microsoft also announced Halo Infinite will be a Scarlett launch title, which marks the first time a Halo game has been a launch Xbox game since the original Halo Combat evolved for the first Xbox. Continuing on. Microsoft kept many of its Scarlett cards close to its chest, electing instead to mostly talk about the internal hardware. In other words, they didn't reveal too much. It didn't reveal all its tricks, all its cards, all its aces. You know what I'm saying? Continuing on. The console, which is yet to receive a final name, will be 4 times more powerful, they put that in quotation marks, 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X. The company went on to say Scarlett contains a custom engineered, The company went on to say Scarlett contains a custom engineered AMD processor and will be capable of both 8K resolution, and 120 frames per second. In other words, 8K, 120 FPS. And viable refresh rates. Okay, so what they're saying basically is it's going to have they are customizing an all-new AMD processor And what they're working on is that what they're working on with this console is it's going to be capable of showing footage, game footage, maybe movie footage, whatever, streaming footage, however you look at it, in 8K resolution at 120 frames per second FPS, and have viable refresh rates. Continuing on. It also supports ray tracing, and the system is equipped with a solid state drive, SSD. Something Sony has touted about PS5. In other words, Sony has said the same thing about the PS5. Microsoft noted that the SSDs will be used as virtual RAM. The console has a custom AMD Zen 2 CPU, Radcon RDNA architectural or Architect, and GDDRS RAM. It was easy for me to say. I'll put this in the description. Hopefully you guys will be able to read it without taking up too much space. One detail absent from the Xbox press conference that we've since learned is that the Scarlett has a disk drive, allowing you to play physical disc. It'll also support all your existing Xbox One games and accessories, which is good. So I've got about, right now, not a big Xbox library, but big enough. But it's basically just a couple of games, and then I got Battlefield on there as well. But basically it's saying it's going to support those games. Now, again, the specs that they put out here are like this. The specs they put out are like this. 8K resolution, 120 frames per second FPS, custom engineered AMD processor, viable refresh rates. It'll have solid state SSD drive, something that Sony also touted about with the when it comes to the PS5. Microsoft again noted that the SSDs will be used as virtual RAM. The console has a custom AMD Zen 2 CPU, Radcon RDNA Architect, and GDDRS RAM. In other words, they're putting all the nook and crannies, all the bits and bolts, whatever you want to call it, into this system. Now, continuing on. I did mention that the one thing they learned, and I'm sure everybody else has learned, is that it will have a disk drive and it will support Xbox One X or Xbox One games and accessories. So that's good. Continuing on. Scarlett was touted as a bigger leap than any generation they've done before. And Microsoft described it as the most powerful and highest performance console they've ever designed. Microsoft also very deliberately made it clear the system is designed explicitly for gaming, a notable difference between how the Xbox One was originally unveiled. So what they're saying here basically is they want to make it clear that when this console comes out in holiday Christmas 2020, around that time frame, that it's going to be explicitly for gaming. Okay, so I just say, and you just look at the information on it. But yeah, this is pretty good news. This is actually nice news. Now again, they didn't put all the cards on the table. They didn't reveal all their hands. But what's really going to be attractive to this, because all they did was talk about, okay, what the launch title is going to be, what the launch time frame is going to, what the release date time frame is going to be. But the one thing they did basically focus on that they know sells people on a new gaming console is the specs. Specs being along the lines of a customized AMD processor capable of both 8K resolution and 120 frames per second, 120 FPS, and viable refresh rates. It also supports ray tracing, which should have been a notable clue that it is going to have a disk drive. And the system is equipped with a solid-state device, SSD, something Sony touted about with the PS5. And that the SSD, or SSDs as they call them, will be used as virtual RAM. And the other thing they noted was it's going to have a custom AMD Zen 2 CPU, Radcon RDNA, easy for me to say. It's going to have a Radcon RDNA architect, or structure, if you will, architecture, whatever, and GDDR6 RAM. So that's basically what they sold people on. If you want to read it right there, hopefully you can read it better than I was able to say it. It's about right here. This is what you want to look at. And it is the information where they said they found out it's going to be disk drive. So that's cool. But yeah, overall they're doing all the right things. And for them to say that, and for Microsoft to come out and say that it's the biggest, most powerful console they've ever worked on, some might say that's kind of pushing it. But here's the thing. If Microsoft can live up to the word when it comes to Project Scarlett, or as I'm probably thinking it's going to be called Xbox Duo, Duix, or DOS, one of those names, if they can live up to the promise that they made, especially when they explicitly say it's going to be for gaming only, then I think they got a winner on their hands. Now, one thing that people have noted, in fact I even saw Angry Joe talk about this on his YouTube channel when they reviewed the Microsoft E3 press conference, was the fact that basically they look at the controller and they're not too sure about the controller. I mean, other Joe basically joked that it could be like $180. I don't think that's going to be it. But one thing I think they did agree upon, and everybody else kind of looks at, is the more powerful the console's being built up to be and hyped up to be, the price range might be the concerning part when it comes to the consumers. Because Microsoft made a mistake like that before. They still currently make it with the Xbox One X. So hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully they learn that if they're going to outdo Sony and Sony's PlayStation 5, then they need to lower the price range. Don't sell it at $499. Don't sell it at $429. Don't, you know what? Here's what you do. Surprise the world. Best price range to go is between $299 and $349. If you go between that range right there, that will surprise people. Because not only will that show that you value the consumer and you value their opinion and their feedback, but it shows that despite how much tech and specs and everything you're throwing into this thing, that you want you want everyone that's a gamer, hardcore or casual, to enjoy this system, to have it in their home. So, hopefully, maybe that might be the price range we get, but we'll have to wait and see. But my overall thoughts are, I think it's good. I like the spec. I like the idea that they're promised. I like the fact that they're saying what they have to right now, and I like the fact that we're going to get a console that is specifically for gaming only. So hopefully they live up to that, and hopefully they don't make any mistakes along the way, and perhaps the price range will be a price range that everybody can agree upon. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I'll talk to y'all later.